we knew that Oklahoma was not going to bring in the 46th ranked class in the country, but still at the same time, it's not just about the ranking at that point. It's about how many players that are potential Oklahoma Sooners are being snatched up by other teams. And not that there's not a possibility of a flip, but most likely when a player goes off the board, he goes off the board. I would think that's 80% of the time that the commitment holds and the player is off the board. So it was not difficult to envision maybe players were not necessarily on the offensive side of the ball going to be attracted to Brent Venables because that's not where his cachet is. Or there are a number of reasons to think that maybe Oklahoma, at least for 1 year, if not throughout the Brent Venables tenure, would take a step back in recruiting. But here we are a month later, and that's not necessarily the case. The interesting dynamic that you bring up with the Alabama-Oklahoma battles is that unless there was a particular relationship that was built or the player hailed from, let's say, Texas or Oklahoma, of course, that there was a geographic tie in that you would give the recruiting advantage to Alabama substantially in the past because of obviously just churning out better defenses. And then also because of that, more NFL players on that side of the ball and at that position. However, now we've got a new dynamic with Alabama still has all that, but Brent Venables can say, look at what I've done, and now I'm bringing that to Oklahoma. So I develop NFL players, I churn out NFL players, and you're going to play for a much improved defense, and we're going to turn this into a top-level defense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the star power, so to speak, that this staff has. And when you look at all three levels of the defense, you've got coaches that have, to your point, Mark, consistently put players to the next level, continue to have very, very high producing teams and individuals. When you look at the defensive line, Todd Bates, and even an off-field role, but to a certain degree, Miguel Chavis as well at Clemson, right? Then you obviously Venables and his linebacker coaching, speaks for itself on, the type of linebackers that he's had throughout his career. And then even on the defensive backfield, you got Jay Valai, and I think really to your point, Mark, about some of those Alabama discussions, I think Makari Vickers' relationship with Jay Valai, even previously with last year with being at Alabama, has made it very fruitful for him coming over to to Oklahoma. So you've got elite recruiters at all different areas, so to speak, of the defense that will that have that certain respect among the athletes in the country. So I think that lends it to itself. And then like I said, as long as that continues to show up on the field, which I mean, you have no reason to believe that it won't. But I think if that continues to progress on the field, I think this team has the opportunity to begin recruiting at a more elite level defensively. And just the one thing that I had heard from a source of mine that really knows recruiting said, if some of these things fall into place like they really think they will, some of these other kids like a Vickers, like a Akana, like a DJ Hicks, obviously, this could be the best defensive class Oklahoma has had since Switzer. So that's 30 plus years of where Oklahoma may sit come the 2023 early signing period. So that's that's good company, obviously great company, and it shows Oklahoma, even if they lose some of these battles, they're in some of these battles with elite prospects that maybe they haven't necessarily been in quite some time.